maybe just introduce yourself to everyone and tell them who you are and the business you're in.
Sure. I'm Richard Shaaya. I'm the Client Engineering Manager for a large healthcare organization here in the United States.
So healthcare is a place where end-user computing is really growing because of the specific demands of that industry. Tell me how you see it.
Well, there's a very large demand for consistency and stability. You know, when it comes to end-user computing for healthcare, you know, we have traveling nurses, we have traveling doctors. They want the same experience every time, right? We have quite a few hospitals around multiple cities, and so it's not acceptable anymore for us to say, well, when you come to you know, this city, here's your end user experience, but try it this different way when you go home. Try it that different way on your phone. So the biggest goal for us is to be able to provide a consistent, stable end user experience that's hardware agnostic. You know, be it on your cell phone, iPad, or your Windows device.
And so how does IGEL help you deliver that?
IGEL has been fantastic for us because it's helped us take, as we acquire more and more locations and you know, other hospital systems, we've been able to stop worrying about hardware life, you know, so much, and concentrate on how do we deliver the same piece of software and user experience through any piece of hardware. So, you know, some of the acquisitions aren't planned years ahead, so we don't have the luxury of planning for how it's going to look. And IGEL has helped us say, we don't really care what your current infrastructure looks like, right? But we know what it's going to look like on virtual desktops, virtual software, and we can only do that through IGEL today.
And you're dealing with people where time is obviously a big issue, accuracy is obviously a big issue, and they're not technologists, or they're certainly not technologists in terms of IT. They may be brain surgeons, but they're not in terms of IT. So does the IGEL solution help you create a good solution for them?
100%. It's kind of like what I already talked about. Being consistent, we don't have to explain what IGEL is, right? We love IGEL in the IT organization. We don't want the end user to know or care about what it means to be on VDI or VMware or Citrix, or, you know, be deployed through SCCM or even IGEL. We just want them to find the EMR software, launch it, log in, be able to use it the very same way on any device, and IGEL has been instrumental in that.
One of the other applications that another person we talked to yesterday talked about was that inside, even apart from the mobility issue, inside one nurse's station, you have a whole bunch of people, all with different jobs, you know, anesthetists, doctors, nurses, and so on, who are using a small number of devices. So with a different login, they can come in as themselves, but still get a totally different experience. Is that a benefit that IGEL offers that a lot of competitors don't?
It's a benefit that IGEL offers through our virtualization technology. So yes, without IGEL, we wouldn't have been able to convert the thick client operating system to a virtualization-enabled desktop. In which case, we have roaming profiles for users to have different applications and different settings based on their role. So IGEL has enabled the ability for us to be able to virtualize desktops and have user settings follow them wherever they go through the virtualization technology, be it VMware or Citrix. Have
you tried other end user and thin client competitors to IGEL, and what's the difference? What was the reaction?
We have. I will say the difference has been the hardware agnostic piece. So we've worked with multiple big manufacturers, and we've used their software that has come with their hardware that we've deployed for years. And the number one limitation around that is they are dependent to their own hardware, right? So we can't install their software solutions on other manufacturers' hardware, and with IGEL we don't have that problem. So that's really been a huge help for us to not care about who made that box and be able to deliver the same consistent desktop experience.
I'm outside the industry, but one of the things that I've heard a lot of people say, again, is you're walking and you're doing acquisitions, you said, so you're buying organizations that may have a lot of legacy gear there, old boat anchors, that for a relatively very low price you can put a UD Pocket in and bingo, you've just added years to the life. Have you had that experience as well?
Yes, absolutely. That has been that's made it very easy for the organization to adapt and purchase the IGEL technology. Right, when I stand in front of an executive board and talk about why we're going with this piece of technology, the number one thing is we're acquiring, 4 or 5 hospitals or four or 5 practices, and we're not going to worry about purchasing new devices for them. We're not going to worry about what it's going to cost to install every piece of software on them. We're only going to worry about what it's going to cost to virtualize the actual experience, and not worry so much about the hardware. And we have quite a few sites that once we acquire, their hardware has been around for a long, long time. And so naturally, we're used to budgeting for hardware replacement. And it's been great for me to be able to say, here's how much money we can save by keeping this hardware and extending its life for another 3 to 4 years, hopefully, through IGEL technology.
Talk to me about security.
The benefit with IGEL and security ties again into the consistency and the central management capabilities, right? So we are securing our desktop in the data center where we control it, where we trust it, where we have security controls around it. We're not relying on non-virtualized desktops to either have or not have antivirus software or some security controls enabled, encryption, and that's been huge for us, right? With potential PHI and PII data being saved on the desktop, we never want somebody taking a desktop, off the network to be a problem and potential exposure for sensitive data. So being able to take that physical asset and make it a dummy terminal that runs a secured virtual desktop that sits in our data center has been welcomed by our security team.
Why would you say IGEL is a great solution? Why should someone buy IGEL?
IGEL has been a great solution for us because of 2 primary things. One is the hardware agnostic piece to it, and the other thing being our support. I think that IGEL has been great in supporting us around the clock. Healthcare is a very dynamic, ever moving field to be in, especially for technology and IT. So we really need that small company feel, but large company solutions, and that's what we've gotten with IGEL. It's been a great experience having IGEL kind of work closely with us to ensure that we are utilizing your software in a way that not just works for any healthcare organization, but specifically for our healthcare organization.
That's great. Thank you so much, Richard. Really
No
appreciate
problem.
it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so
for
much.
doing this.